Today, we're talking AI powered time management, how top CEOs use technology to multiply their productivity in 2025. And if you want to add 15 hours a week to your life, this is the conversation you really need to listen to. And I'm joined by Stephen J. Manning. He built a very large business. Time when he left, it was doing over $1.2 billion a year. And he's managed teams of thousands of people and consulted with many of the top global organizations. And we're here to dig into this topic so that you can regain your life and actually take control of it. And, yes, we could dig into the tools. We could dig into Trello, ClickUp, Reclaim.ai, Clockwise, and Motion for dynamic scheduling, focused time and workflow automation. But there's a lot more. There's a lot more to regaining these 15 hours a week and becoming more productive than tools, in my personal opinion. Of course, I'm not discounting the tools and how you can use those, but it's all starts with you, really. What do you think, Steve, about this?
Hi, Nathaniel.
Lovely to see you.
Well, without a doubt, if there are tools that improve any aspect without being deleterious to other aspects of your performance, your impact on people, you need to know what those tools are, but not blindly adopt tools. Remember, there are other people out there manufacturing the tools. And typically, if you happen to be a senior exec somewhere, senior leader somewhere, it is likely that you employ some people like that 9 levels below you in the management structure. So remember that they serve a master that is a bit different than you, the ultimate decision maker. So now, you and I have been knee-deep in tools since we were knee-deep in anything. Why? Because we grew up in businesses in a time of immense discovery, immense development, which of course has taken on a completely supernatural rate now with AI and everything associated with AI. Remember, AI is, to most people, is an interesting concept. To those as practitioners of AI, and we have been, in my case, since the 80s, AI has a manufacturing arm, if you will. In my little world is what happens after the AI process, the thought process. It's the implementation process. What happens? How do you implement that stuff that AI just put together? And remember, AI is really a deductive tool, more than anything else. AI's development, in my opinion, is absolutely totally Bacon-esque. It's totally developmental. It's absolutely deductive. And I will now say this again because I love saying it. Today is today. Yesterday, that's 1 day ago, 24 hours ago, there was more knowledge and data added to the body of data that all these incredible bots dig into. The Groks, all of them. There was more data added yesterday to the body of data knowledge than the sum total in the history of mankind preceding that. Okay, think about that. All that incredible knowledge, all that data, all of that. Well, yesterday we did more than all of that. Now, but that is what drives the tool. It's the data, which is very, very important. As a fundamental concept, every leader I know, I encounter, does use technology one way or another. You have to. My friend, the orthopedic surgeon, tells me that no, he doesn't really do this when he replaces knees. And he's brilliant. Why? Because the Stryker machine is far more precise than he is and is able to adapt faster.
Yeah,
my friend who reads X-rays and MRIs all day long will tell me that he went obsolete about a year ago because the AI environment reads those X-rays, those films, the images much more critically than he does, and all his brethren do. So what do? Well, we invest umpteen $1 million in more equipment, and it's going to help us read those X-rays better. And we're going to identify X% more cancer cells. Isn't that amazing?
It's incredible.
The flip side for me is on the creative side. And then on the life cycle side of leaders. AI will do a lot of things to make your life better, more interesting, easier, if you will. It will not add to your creativity unless you're going to put in the time and the hours. The thing that I find worrisome is that when a leader substitutes intelligence, machine intelligence, for people, we don't need that entire level of management. The entire level leadership, we don't need that. We just have these boxes chewing up electricity. My preference is to understand the core competencies of those people, how they think, what they think, and somehow they think. And then push those buttons where they use technology to enhance their competencies. And I benefit as a leader directly from that. So, and one of the problems, of course, is that, you and I were talking about this, is that remember when we all learned how to type. And of course, we didn't need assistance anymore. And we spent an extra 2 or 3 hours a day typing. And then we all got laptops or computers. And I remember the day when I stopped dictating. It was cool to say to my executive assistant, hey, will you send that a note? I want to say this, as I'm running through the office. And then half an hour later on the way back, shoot him, is this what you want to say? Not anymore. Now you sit down and grind that out, and you need to get good. So you practice and you work so hard. It was much easier when I said to Geraldine, hey, Geraldine, can you drop a note on Nathaniel about this? Oh, no sweat, done. Of course, I cannot dictate that on the way to the airport. I loathe the notion of losing the personal part of this, the human part of this, because the greatest things that you and I read, look at, they're still open to interpretation by us humans. And we will push those buttons. And you know what? Here's a glorious concept that very few people actually get. Those algorithms are written by people. And those people are limited by what they know and the technology they use. So you get this
100%.
amoeba that's eating up itself. I don't know how to
100%.
describe it any better.
Yeah,
So
100%.
I think I answered your question, although somewhat circuitously.
No, that's absolutely correct. And the most important thing that I sort of found out in the past 6 months, year, is how you're able to digest information and interrogate it based upon what you actually want to know. So, for example, the CEO of Microsoft, he's been using AI to digest reports. And he has specific questions he wants to ask, he needs answers to. So he doesn't need to read a 60-page report. He can, which was probably created by AI anyway. Let's be honest. I mean, look, come on. I mean, however, there's so much information now that, like you said, every day there's more information than there was before, like ever before. That's a mind-blowing statistic. And I mean, for me, I think it's actually regaining the control of our minds. This is for me. I was saying to you earlier how I switched my phone to grayscale mobile color, right? Which means that the colors are not on my phone anymore. And actually, it makes my phone less enjoyable to pick up. So it means that I'm probably actually regain 15 hours just from creating that freedom of my mind, which means I can concentrate on other work and use my laptop or my desktop, and actually work more in a more focused way because there's less interruptions. I think also using your mobile phone in the right way can be a transformational thing. I mean, like you said before, you turn it off. There's no notifications. You don't get interrupted. These things, whilst they might be elementary to the techies out there, they are the most important things, because when you work out how much time you're actually spending on these devices, and wasting, I might add, because a lot of the time you don't need more than half an hour a day, 1 hour a day maximum on your mobile phone. Not really, in my personal opinion.
Nathaniel, when was the last time I were on a mobile phone, on an iPad, online, where whatever we were looking at, this great big mass of tools that continue to feed us stuff that we interact with. When was the last time in the middle of one of those interactions, the thing said to you, yo, dude, take off an hour, take a break? When was the last time that happened to you?
Well, exactly.
And I look at the immense disconnect I have where, you turn your phone to grayscale. That phone on grayscale doesn't rattle your brain. The razzle dazzle ain't there. It's all background. It's cool. And your brain says, I gotta do, hey, we're gonna go take a walk, go boxing, ride my motorcycle. How about the part where I just read that one of the great, brilliant, brainy companies on earth, one of the biggest companies on earth, well, guess what? They came up with a much thinner pair of glasses with all this phantasmagorical stuff built in. Okay, so I can now sit in the living room or the family room with food or a tray of food, with kids running around, family, friends, whatever, watch a ball game and work at the same time. Oof. By wearing the damn glasses. Oof. You know what? How about this as an old-fashioned notion? The announcer and a color guy in a football game says, oh, did you see his left foot? The left foot was out of bounds. Therefore, that was a bad call. I don't need them anymore. My glasses will tell me that in about a nanosecond.
True.
I can just sit there and program my glasses, say, I want to analyze all calls. Bingo. I'm going to sit there, talk to people in the room, and my glasses tell me his left foot was out of bounds. Before the dude can blow the whistle. How is that qualitatively better for my life?
It's not, is it?
I don't think it is. And by the way, this often transcends these conversations to something you and I talk about a great deal, achieving work-life balance. Okay, guess what? In the vernacular, as they say in Texas, you ain't got any. Now, and then the big concept is that work-life balance means something entirely different to different people at different stages of their life, their business life, personal life, the growth, etc. Means something very, very different. As I had the opportunity to tell these three young men, they have graduate degrees. We had a very interesting session on development of their whole going forward methodology in life. They will achieve because they have the goods. So I said to them, we have to achieve work-life balance. I said, how old are you? And they told me, I said, let me tell you what about work-life balance at your age where you are. There is no work-life balance. How about you worked 18 hours a day for the next 2 years and then get some work-life balance going? You think I said something really disparaging about them others. Well, I tell you what, it took me many, many years to find work-life balance when I started out.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's New Year's Eve? I got to go to O'Hare because I got stuff at the airport stored in. What do you mean? So what? It's New Year's Eve. I'll celebrate next year. Now, I'm not suggesting you become a workaholic, but I'm suggesting that if you have all these tools at your fingertips, one of the things that happen is that you can And you're going to be wanting to just like work all the time. I don't want to watch a football game or tennis match, and my glasses will tell me that the ball was out. Before that immense technology on tennis courts, technology that tennis was calling the lines is phenomenal. 5
That's
years ago, it was
incredible.
like on science fiction. Don't need it. My
Yeah.
glasses will tell me the damn ball was out. And they're not there. They're here in my living room. There is a, wouldn't that be cool if all these tools will compel us to sit down and do some work without
100%.
asking a machine to do some work? Wouldn't that be cool if we could compel every grad student coming out of the great schools in the United States of America to take notes on a yellow pad with an ordinary pen? Not, you mind, I can dictate, no.
No,
You
no,
don't
no.
understand the thought process, the effort that goes into writing handwritten notes on a yellow pad is enormously different than I can just dictate it. I don't need to do that. I can just do this.
Makes a huge difference. People don't understand that. I actually have a fountain pen here, and I love my fountain pen. And I write post-it notes to myself, and I take notes. And but I think the main thing really is working out what you're doing with your time. That's the most important thing. Working out exactly what you're doing with your time, and then saying, well, why am I doing that? I can eliminate that. And being really brutal in a good way, because look, we have goals that we want to achieve, and I agree 100% with you on the work-life balance. There isn't any. However, like our mutual friend Michael Tobin, Commander Michael Tobin, I think he is, Commander. That's the one.
Commander of
Commander.
the title is phenomenal, but
It's
the
great.
abbreviated title, Commander of the British Empire. The
Yeah,
real
it's brilliant.
title is like another 5 words. It's really cool.
Yeah,
But
it's
hey,
really
he's a cool guy.
He's cool.
Without a doubt.
But he talks a lot about work-life integration, and I think it's involving what he says. It's a lot to do with involving everyone around you, so that you can make that bit of time available to do the work that you need to do. But also, it is about freeing your mind away from the technology, because you cannot function at maximum capacity. I mean, I think you said something about the top leaders functioning at 70%. I'm sure you said that to me a few weeks ago. And look, if someone's super intelligent and they're really good at what they do, 70% is pretty serious. If you compare them to a mere mortal, then they're doing well, right? And
Without a doubt.
it's really just about knuckling down, working out what time you're spending, where you're spending it, and actually focusing on what's important to you. And I know you said there's a time tracking app that you mentioned to me that sounded quite useful. Can you remember what that was? I think you said something about that to me.
There are a whole lot of them.
Right.
There are 5 or 6 or 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I preach that if you don't track your time,
I
it's
have to do it. I'm guilty. I'm guilty.
But you
Steve.
do know,
Sorry.
because I cited 5 of these in one of our talks of writing.
Right.
So here are 5 things. You got it. And they're free, for God's sake, man. Bang, bang is there. Tracking. And then they get fancy. They let you know you're screwing up. Oh, you're running 10 minutes behind.
Well, you're doing that. You're letting me know that I'm screwing up. So now I can actually find a time tracking app and do exactly what you told me 6 weeks ago.
Oh, by the way, I said, is now if you're not inclined to do that for reasons I can figure,
I have to.
You can get a little spreadsheet, a little Excel spreadsheet, and just write stuff in there. But then you have to have the discipline every day. When I wake up at 8 in the morning, I take a look and say, oh, oops, should have done that last night. I'm going to do it today. I'm going to change my thing on here. And for the next hour, I do what the top executives in this world do. The people who run the top 10 companies on earth do. I'm going to stop, and for the next hour, I'm going to do that. Period. Nothing else. Everything gets turned
Exactly.
off. The 5 hour paradigm.
Mhm.
The Bill Gates and the Jobs and the all those folks, cooks of the world, live that way. They will devote 1 hour a day to quote learning,
Aha.
which means that everything at 9 o'clock or 10 or 11:30, 1 hour every day is spent to learning. Nothing. The world
Yep.
no longer exists. I want to learn about
Yep.
that. Now, I
Hmm.
say that part of that 1 hour needs to be take inventory, doofus, because if you're not keeping online with what you said you're going to do, you will lose. Same thing. And I promise you, they don't keep massive archives. They don't have machines. They sit down. Uh, have you ever seen these people, men and women, who run these big companies, who having a chat in public, and then they take out a little notepad and they grab a pen and write something down. They got 25 people trailing an entourage who inhales every word they say. Mary writes herself a little note. Then she goes on to run that $1 trillion business. But because she's focused, it's fine. And she takes it, puts it on the desk. And then calls 19 people and say, get this done. But the point is not that. The point is that, again, using technology, of course. And we talk about this a bunch, and about sometimes an abacus or slide rule is better than a 1.74 flops computer. It just is. It
Yeah.
sometimes just gets you closer to the reality of your situation. Okay,
100%.
and
Yeah.
I am fortunate as you are to know some really creative people, and we
Yeah.
also very fortunate to know some really prolific people. And when you can figure out to put those two together, which means they're putting their minds at it instead of tool here, tool there, whatever, the outcome is phenomenal. Phenomenal. A really creative person, really focused person, really prolific, put that together, you are looking at a 12-cylinder turbocharged Ferrari.
100%. And it is all about the learning. It's all about that regular, weekly learning, daily, in fact, like you say. And that's why we recommend people join us at Monday Influencer and sign up to that, mondayinfluencer.com. We have masses and masses of learning content that we're updating every month on sales, marketing, soft skills, leadership skills, management skills, all sorts of things, communication, loads and loads of things. But we also recommend that you go to Coursera, Udemy, edX, LinkedIn Learning, Skillshare, Khan Academy, and many of these places like MIT have, go and sign up for those courses. I did like a 12-hour, 14-hour AI, artificial intelligence course. And by the end of it, I was like, wow, I wish I hadn't signed up for that. it was
uh,
brutal, but it was
you know,
useful, you know.
if I may be self-serving here, what you get from Monday Influencer is unique. We have no interest in word salads. We have no interest in glorious theories. We have no interest in esoteric anything. Just the facts. Here's how what we put forth in terms of, and again, we're about pushing people to success and achievement in their lives, their careers, their businesses. We're about to say, now, there's the door, there's the light, here are the rails, here are the wheels, go. And then we beat you up because you don't. Okay, you tell me
100%.
why you haven't. It's the quintessentially maddening thing I hear from clients, and I will tell you that it's phenomenal when you hear this from a client that happens to be a Fortune 20, even a Fortune 5, a Fortune, whatever it is, somebody massive and massively accomplished. And then when you do engage in problem solving, and it's interesting to me to be in the room with people who have brains that far exceed mine, experience that I can never regain, resources that I can barely fathom. And of course, by definition, they know what the issues are, and they know what the resolution is, and to the very point. So once you get through it, and you have to be patient to feed back the idea that becomes their idea, and you get the idea from them to begin with. And then when you get to a confluence of all this, and yeah, that would be the solution. And they look at you and say, well, you think we should do that? Yeah, I really do think you should do that. And why haven't you? Well, I don't ask why haven't you, because it's embarrassing. So what are the obstacles to doing that? And the weirdest part is when everybody looks at each other around the table and they say, well, there really aren't any. We just haven't matured to that yet. You haven't matured to that. You have 1.2 million employees worldwide. I think you're mature. It's a psychological fence. They're sitting on it, and for some reason they haven't tipped over. Why they would hire a guy like me with admittedly limited skills to help him get over that little fence. And the question I often get to ask is, like, somebody tell me, what is it that we really do here? And you get all these glorious answers. And I say, no. What we do here is make money. Will that make more money? Well, of course. Well, then, how about we do that? Sometimes I find that they have tools and analysis, and they are paralytic on account of them. Just paralytic. Too much info, too much data, too much interpretive stuff, too much soliloquies, not enough. Yeah. Oh, gee, we used to do that 10 years ago. We can do a lot better now, so why don't we do it?
It's funny, isn't it? How it causes analysis paralysis. It's
Isn't
overwhelming. There's too much to do. It's all overwhelming. It's fantastically interesting, and that's why Monday Influence is so great, because we are now working with lots of learning and development managers, CEOs, and also individuals who want to take control of their careers to get better at everything they do. And we're working to launch more and more content every month. So if you're one of those people that I just mentioned and you want to improve, do contact us, and we'll be very happy to help you. And visit mondayinfluencer.com or contact me or Stephen on LinkedIn, and we can certainly help you. So thank you, Steve. And
thank you, Nathaniel.
Thank you, everyone, for watching, and do go and share this with people that you know, and comment. Let us know, what are your problems with learning? What do you want to learn about, and what's holding you back from doing that?